All right, good morning, everybody. This is Wednesday, April 27th. My name is Catherine Ferrier. I'm the Senior IT Marketing and Training Specialist here at NAU Country. We are beginning our spring connection webinars for NAU Country. So I'm excited. If you've joined them in the past, we've had them in the last year. You know that we've covered some of these same topics, and I encourage you to make sure that you join us for future calls if and when you can. So here's just what we're going to go over here briefly. Just some meeting reminders. I've got you muted for now. Just make sure that you keep yours muted as well. We ask that if you've got any questions, please contact your marketing representative. You can also email itmarketing at NAU Country, and then we'll wrap in your marketing representative if it's anything that they need to follow up on. We'll call. Future calls for our connection webinars are in our NAU Country news section, and you'll notice that we've got this lovely graphic here. So you just look for the news story that says NAU Country Connection Webinar Series. Make sure that you register for the future ones. We've got them running through mid-June as of right now. So we've got one every Wednesday. Next thing, just for our agenda, we'll go over hail notifications for agents. Hail notifications set up for farmers by their agent. We'll show hail notifications for farmers. EASYview Weather on a computer. I've got some screenshots of EASYview Weather for mobile. This is available for agents and farmers via NAU Country Mobile's or the NAU Country Mobile app. We'll go over just a quick look at some of the tips and tricks that we have available. All of the resources that I'm going to show today, plus maybe even a few in addition, will be sent out in that recap email. And then we'll also show the EASYview Weather user guide, and the things we won't be covering are hail or MPCI claim searches or easy mapping. Those may be touched on in future connection calls. So we're going to try to keep it as topical and concise as possible today. So first things first, and I'm going to show an actual demonstration of our actual system into the agent portal here shortly. But before we kind of really get into the nitty gritty, I just wanted to explain what are our hail notifications and how do they relate to EASYview Weather. Our agents, all of you are able to access agent portal. If you have the opportunity, you can sign up to receive hail notifications on behalf of your farmers. So anytime that they have a mapped field, we can receive hail notifications for their policy. You can also sign up your farmer to receive their own notification as well. We've had a couple of mentions of this in our IT marketing newsletter that comes out monthly. So whenever you see that, take the opportunity. If you're not sure if your agency or as you as an agent have hail notifications and you're interested in them, send us an email and we'll be able to get you all set up for those notifications. We can opt you in, opt you out. If you've got too many emails coming in, we understand, let us know and we can tailor that to your needs. If you're not currently signed up, but you are interested, you can either go by way of the hail probability email. All you need to do is provide us your agency name and agency code, or we've got in our resources a link that says click here. It opens up and prompts you to enter in your agency name and agency code as well. Individual agent notifications, you can receive them as an agent for your specific policy holders for notifications on hail. We also can add the agency summary report. Now, what that means is say that you're in an agency that has more than one agent. You've got 10 or 5, and perhaps one agent doesn't just look at their own individual. They try to help with some of the claims, or they look at different things with hail. They look at different things from the notifications. Maybe they manage the agency inbox. What we can do is we can set you up as an individual to receive your own notifications for the policyholders that apply to you, as well as we can set up your summary report. What that will include is all of the policyholders for that agency. If they've had hail that's potentially hit their field, you'll receive one full report for the entire agency rather than just as an individual. We can do both. We can do one or the other. It's completely up to you. And we can make sure that you don't have double emails sent as well. But this is just to let you know that there is an option to opt you in from anyone in your agency or yourself to receive these notifications at any time. I'll go over this in a little bit more detail, but there's some new stuff that we've got with our hail notifications for agents that's happened in the last year. If hail larger than a 1/2 inch in diameter has been indicated by EASYview Weather, it should trigger a notification. Now that's not new, but that's just an explanation of why or when you're receiving the emails. And what is new is that we have this blue envelope right next to the phone number in the hail probability report. This is the agent report example. We've got our policy information on the left for the policy holder, the insured contact phone, the location, and then the crop, as well as hail probability. And this is just an example that I pulled up and made here for this day. But in the actual legend, you'll see that we've got a possible, likely, severe, extreme, and then this envelope that's new says if you see this envelope, it's indicated that your farmer has opted to receive hail notifications as well. And this is a fantastic opportunity to contact your farmer after you receive a notification, especially if you know that they're receiving them as well, and let them know, hey, you can submit a notice of loss from the NAU Country Mobile app if they need to right away. If the farmer's enrolled, it's the same farmer here, we've got their name, they have the option where they can click on the link that shows their policy number and it will automatically open them straight up into the farmer portal within EASYview Weather to their policy and in the map, which is fantastic. So of course, if we as an agent want to receive hail notifications, we can on behalf of our farmers. If we want our farmers to receive hail notifications, then I'll walk through this step on setting them up here shortly. They have to have a farmer portal account. So if they receive the email due to having a farmer portal account and an email associated with that account, they would receive this email. They could click on the link and it would open them up, like I said, into EASYview Weather. All right, I'm going to get out of my PowerPoint here. Hopefully I don't close everything at the same time. And I'm going to have what you're seeing right now is our NAU Country news story. This is Go the Extra Mile for Your Farmer This Hail Season. This story is on our public webpage in our news section. This is a fantastic broad summary of how hail probability and EASYview Weather work together in a very, I guess I would try to say concise, but this doesn't look very concise. We've got a long story, but it's very good information and it's all in one place. So we have several different tips and tricks that are more individually topical. And this is kind of a one-stop shop if you want to know everything about weather and hail probability. All you need to do, again, if you're an agent and you want to receive that email or you want to start receiving emails, you can click here and it will prompt you to sign up for a hail probability email. You'll notice that it says automatically, please provide us your agency name and agency code. Usually I'm the one that takes these in and I will respond to you and let you know, hey, do you need to have any additional agents added? Is there anybody that is working on behalf of the agency that maybe isn't a licensed agent yet or doesn't have active policies yet? We might add them to the agency summary report. It's completely up to you guys. Whatever you need is what we can do to provide you the best customer service possible. So I'll close that out. And then it just goes over a little bit more information on how insureds can receive hail notifications and how they sign up and our additional resources. And going into that, we have some of the tips and tricks that are showing up here. Again, these are all the topical ones. These are through the agent portal. And when you click through, you'll notice that we have everything kind of logged in already. Go the extra mile. Again, these are just more summaries of each individual topic that we were just kind of showing from that one news story, more in detail with step-by-step instructions on how everybody can sign up, how it looks in mobile as well. I'll just show you briefly our agent user guide for EASYview Weather. It really goes in depth about how does EASYview Weather work, every single individual piece, what it looks like, what your options are. Sometimes this is really nice just to kind of review if you're getting acquainted with a new product and trying to show your farmers if they're interested in learning more about EASYview Weather. So I am going to expand this. All right. Okay. So if I'm in the agent portal and I log in, my dashboard will have the menu options along the top. I just wanted to show you straight from my farmers how we have the access not only just to the individual farmer if you need to search for, or to EASYview Weather. I've looked up my farmer here. I'm going to click on him first. And notice that the policies show up for my individual farmer. We've got quick links also to EASYview Weather, as well as other items here. But the way that we set up, now that we've asked for our own notifications on behalf of the farmer by sending in the email, we want to set up our farmer to receive notifications on their behalf. They again can go into Farmer Portal and do it on their own, but we want to sign them up just as a customer service, right? So we'll go into preferences for our farmer. And this is a little bit updated as well from last year's connection call. We've kind of updated our account preferences page. This is an area that you as an agent can also update your farmer's contact information, address, email, phone, and then of course the alerts and notifications are on the bottom. What you'll notice is it says insured hail notification. We've got a toggle that says yes. We switch it, it goes to no. Switch it back to yes. This green banner will show up kind of just displaying a notification of what the action was that we just took. If you've got questions about what the insured hail notification is all about or how we do this, we actually have our tool tips in our notifications here that will open up our tips and tricks. So now we know, since I've toggled this over to yes, we have actually signed up our insured for hail notifications. And just to show you what that looks like again here is it'll show the date of a hail notification, the times that the actual data was pulled, when the hail fell between 12 a.m. and 12 a.m. for a full 24-hour period. And just some of the basics of our hail notifications is once you've enrolled and you've gotten your farmer enrolled, this is going to carry over from year to year. And the time frame that we send out these emails is between March 15th through September 30th. And then the service shuts off for a few months over the winter time here in North America. And then only one email will be sent out per day. The alerts, like I was mentioning before, if a ½ inch in diameter has been indicated by our system, that is what will trigger an actual notification email to both you or your farmer if they're signed up. However, and I'll show you this, EASYview Weather shows hail data for anything above a ½ inch or larger. We know that any size hail can cause all sorts of damage. So we at least want to give you the option so that you can see it all in different places. Just one more other kind of detail about our notifications. If hail occurred between 12 a.m. midnight, it will send out the email the following day. And if the email was sent to you at about 2:20 a.m., it will only include the midnight to midnight period of the previous day's hail. So if you get a storm at 2 a.m., you're not going to receive that notification until the next day, just so you know. And just as a disclaimer, anything to do with EASYview Weather and our hail notifications, they are general guidelines and are not based on quantitative research data. The display is not an admission or denial of damage to crops. Okay, so we're back into our agent portal. Now we can get in and have some fun showing off our EASYview Weather system. Yay! So I'm going to go back to home. And we've got our typical dashboard here. I'm going to click on the EASYview Weather button. And what pops up right away is a search bar. We can search by last name, business name, or policy holder. We also have a tooltip that says how to key this in. Otherwise, I'm going to show you this really quickly because this dashboard for EASYview Weather does show up from time to time by clicking back or search when you're in EASYview Weather, the actual feature itself. So I'm going to click on dashboard. We do not have to do this every time. This is just giving you the opportunity to show you that EASYview Weather allows you to search by hail policy, hail claim, hail or MPCI policy, which is what we're going to do today, MPCI claim, and address search, which we'll go over in a little detail closer to the end of this presentation. So when I click MPCI policy, the same type of pop-up box shows up just like before, and we're going to type in our policy number or our business name. Oops. I type in my policy. Again, John Doe appears. I'm going to click on the latest one. All right, it should take not too long. It just usually we're just grabbing some of the data from the maps and the fields, or the mapped fields, I should say. All of them will be outlined in white initially, and we'll go over the navigation plus the links that we have available to us here right off the bat. The search feature will bring us back to the dashboard. I will have to go back in and type in my policy number, and that's why I wanted to show you that first, just so you weren't nervous as to what was going on. Why did it take me out? all you got to do is just type back in your policyholder's information. We have a date filter feature. I will show that here a little bit later on as well. And then we have a link that will bring us straight out to Field Insights. Now, Field Insights was built off of EASYview Weather, and so they're really similar in the way that they look with the map view plus the event cards and some of the basic navigation above the actual map itself. Then just below our search, date, and field insights links, we've got kind of a string that will click through some of your policyholder information and where we're at. We're on EASYview Weather, our policyholder. We went to My Farmer's Agency Home. We also have basic navigation of zooming in, zooming out. We can pan, all sorts of great stuff here. And then we have our weather event cards, or recent weather event cards on the side. Also wanted to note, since we did an MPCI policy search, there's this small folder here in this banner that says recent weather events that's indicating an M. When clicked, it will open up just your basic policyholders information. If we were to do a claims one, it would have a different letter as well. Also note that there is a back arrow on recent weather events. This will come into play here shortly once I start clicking around on some of these actual recent weather event cards. So first things first, we're going to try to look up and see when did hail hit this particular farm on certain dates as of late. Well, the most recent, we had a couple of dates already here this year in April. This is in Iowa. And from April 23rd, the 22nd, and the 12th, we're getting a couple of indications that there may or may not have been hail. At least, a quarter-inch size hail fell on April 23rd. This would not have triggered a notification, however, so it doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't damage to the field, but this is just an option now that if you or your farmer has access or can have access to EASYview Weather, you can go out and search this at any time. And if you notice that there was a storm that possibly hit one of their fields, you can truth it and look at what the data shows on the map. So I'm going to click on one of the dates that shows up first. And just before we get into some of the information within the cards, from the map perspective, you'll notice that this contour data appears now. Now, this is what our hail contours look like. They're just shaded areas. They do match up. I'm going to zoom out so you can see a little bit of the different coloring with the legend along the bottom that is indicative of the radar indicated sized hail. It does not necessarily mean that 4-inch hail has hit the ground. I just wanted to show you, this is the diameter and the contours that match them. We can actually change the opacity of the map from satellite just to a map view. We can also change the opacity of the contour data. All right, now we'll go back into our cards and go over some of the individual items here. Notice that once I clicked on one of the dates, I should say, the banner here, or the header, changed from recent weather events to possibly affected fields for this date. So we've got the date card, some basic weather information about that date and time of when the hail potentially hit the field, and then we have individual fields that are listed out. They'll also show if that particular field may have been hit by a certain size hail in particular. This one didn't include all of the entire area, but at least partially. But this is why this is great to look at this visually, right? Once we start clicking on these field cards, they do kind of move around the map. I'm not going to try to make anybody sick here by zooming out too much more, but let's go over what's on our actual field event card. The area off to the left will show how many fields were potentially impacted by hail. So 27 out of 27, at least for this state. The distance of our farm from the hail is 0.0 miles. When you get into the individual field cards, you'll see how much further maybe some of them are. For instance, this one doesn't look like there was hail necessarily on the field, but it did happen within a half of a mile. And the thing with EASYview Weather is if we're in a 1 mile buffered radius around our farm view, you're going to get the potential that hail might have hit. As we know, storms, they move quickly, and maybe the radar indicated that there was hail a little bit further east of you, but it's not to say that it didn't fall necessarily on their field as well. So this is just kind of giving them a heads up that like, hey, it was close by, you might still want to go out and check it out just in case. We have the FTF information also on each card. We've got the polygon of the field that's mapped. In some of these, we'll have a farm name that appears here down in the bottom, plus the companion policy percentage. We have the weather data, which is the high and the low for the day, the percentage for humidity, the dew point temperature, the weather conditions, and then the size hail. If we have winds above 40 miles an hour, gusts will appear in the date card. And at this point, this one was a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. We'll also have the acres that were affected, the winds for each individual field card too, as you're seeing as I'm kind of clicking around as well, and then the locations. Timestamps are also something kind of interesting here. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit till they show up. You'll see these little thunderstorm icons and timelines that come with that. That's just indicating when that storm dropped hail in that particular area, at least radar indicated. What's really interesting about this, let's say our farm got hit at 5:50 a.m. as this indicates, or 5:52, or close around 5, just before 6 a.m. Farmer goes out and looks at it at 10 a.m. Later on in the day, another round came through, as we can see, about 4:30, another system came through almost the exact same area. So say that they left town for the afternoon and didn't come back until the next day, or say they're going to be out of town for a couple of days, then you could give them a heads up saying, hey, another system went through, may have caused damage to your farm and to your fields as well. So just go out and make sure you check. So that's kind of a nice indicator just to give you even more information that you can provide to your farmer as well. Let's say that your farmer does not have a mobile phone that they want to use with the NAU Country Mobile app, or they don't have an iPad, or they don't have a computer at home that they want to use this system with. That's totally fine. What you can do as an agent is you can actually print off an event for them if needed. So from here, if I were to go up to my navigation, once I'm in my possibly affected fields, I now have the print option. I'm going to click on that. You can actually move the map around if you like to give more of a spatial visual of where the hail may have possibly hit on different fields. All the fields are outlined, and it will show some of the basic information here. When you go to say print page, it'll open up with a preview, and I'll show you, hopefully, there we go. It actually lists out every individual field that was impacted. So it's nice to have, some people prefer to have a hard copy. It's nice to just have as reference, and it's something that you could drop off or go over face-to-face with your farmer if needed. I'll show you how we can also do that in mobile here shortly too at the end of our call. Let's go back. I'm going to explain something that shows up often. Back to our recent weather events. What is this NA, right? Not applicable. Well, it shows that nothing really hit anything on the field. Well, why is it showing up at all? Well, it's not necessarily that hail didn't happen anywhere, because if you look at the weather data here, we've got rain. It just means it's not applicable to hitting, at least radar indicated, our fields directly. It says that 0 out of 27 fields were impacted, but we did have gusty winds. It was a warm day, plus we had rain. And the actual NA explanation in the formal capacity is that both the location for claim and policy searches, both the location of the farm and fields or sections on a policy are considered when displaying the hail size when an event occurs within 10 miles of the farm, but not within 1 mile of any policy field or section. NA displays as the hail size, and then 0 displays as the number of potentially impacted fields. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out on my map, and I'm going to show you that there was hail. It just didn't necessarily hit within 1 mile of my policy field or section, but it was within 10. So I would say probably down here a little bit further to the south and west was where we saw some of the hail that hit. And I'm looking at this progression, and it looks like it probably was going south to northeast. And I would assume that they probably got some heavy rain at some times. Nonetheless, it's something that you could bring up to your farmer saying, hey, you know, there's a couple of events that there was hail in the area, but it didn't necessarily say, you know, show up that it was maybe hitting your fields. But if you notice anything, let us know. We can do a notice of loss and continue moving forward on that too. All right, so let's go back one more as well. into the date filter. This is the fun part. All right, so say that John Doe has, we've gone over some recent events with him, we've printed off some, and we wanted to just, for curiosity's sake, hey, remember that large storm that we had a few years ago? Man, I can't remember. I wonder if it was in the same path that this last storm was or whatnot. There's a way that we can kind of go back in history and search for dates in the past that hail may have hit. I'm going to do this. I think this one should be good. From July last year. So what happens when we do a date filter? Our navigation changes along the top. We've got search, date filter. We can clear the date and we still have field insights. Then what happens is with our recent weather events is the date that I searched for is going to be in the middle, sandwiched between the next day and the day prior. Same information shows up on the weather cards, and it'll show up for search results for July 9th, whatever date I chose. I'm going to show this one as, because it's very colorful, very extreme event that went through past July. Different fields were affected by large hail. Radar indicated up to nearly 4-inch diameter hail. I think in particular, this large system went through and went just past a couple of the different fields. Again, we're not saying that 4-inch diameter hail, softball size hit any of our fields. And then, of course, we've got the timestamps included for our hail contours and what time the hail went through with that storm. So I just wanted to show you how it looks from a more extreme perspective, from a date filter perspective as well. And then if we want to, we can print this off for our farmer if they're interested, but it's an option that you can do. We can clear date and all of the data removes and goes right back to our recent weather events. All right, let's go and do our second to last topic here, which is going to be our search and address search feature. Say that you're an agent and you want to go and show a prospective client our systems, and you want to show them EASYview Weather in particular. They don't have any mapped fields at the moment, or they're interested in buying some land. They'd like to see, what does EASYview Weather look like over this particular property? The great thing is with our search feature, we now have the ability to do an address search. When you click on that button, this is non-discriminatory. It literally will pick up a Starbucks. It will pick up a lake. It will pick up any address you type in, a park, you name it. I am going to go with a storm that I remember from Hondo, Texas. And when you do an address search, it will show all of the hail events or indicated hail events for the past year. And it just takes a little bit of time because it's getting all of the weather data plus the new location data too. All right, here we go. So a couple things right off the bat, once this is all loaded up, is same header applies, recent weather events. We've got our location. Now remember, I just did a very generic location in the area of Texas, Hondo in particular, right off of 90 and just to the west of San Antonio. So as I zoom out, what you notice is we've got this little diamond here. That's indicative of the center of my official address. And I didn't have a specific one other than the city. So it's considering what is the specific center of Hondo. Otherwise, as you zoom out, you'll notice that we've got this hatched circle around. We have different radius displays that appear for each individual weather event. And I'll show you as I kind of go through each different event. So already this year in April, we've already had some hail. Just because it's interesting, we'll go back to April 28, 2021 with a very large damaging system that went through parts of Texas. This is in 2021, just to show you. I'm going to create the opacity just to be a little bit lighter here. And notice once I've clicked on that date, now the header changes to event details. We've got the timing. We've got a 10-mile radius, zooms to the 10-mile radius, hatched circle. It will zoom in even further for a 5-mile radius out from the center of my address that I've searched for. And finally, a 1-mile radius too. So if I go back out, Again, it just goes back out to that 10-mile radius. Now, since we don't have any mapped fields, it's not going to zoom around or click anything. So if you want to do that, you can do it on your own by either zooming in or out by using the navigation here, or the wheel on your mouse will do that. You can pan and you can get all sorts of information. We also still have the opportunity to print, and I'm going to show you what that looks like just from this perspective, since this is not a mapped policy. When we click print page, it will simply show the large map with that 10-mile radius or 5-mile radius, whatever you wish. At that point, it's just a one sheet with the legend. And also, just to note something more specific, let me go back here to the event details. When we've got the NA that appears, it's kind of in the same vein as what happens when we're actually looking at our policy information. When NA appears for an address search, only the location is considered. If an event occurs outside of the location's buffer, the 10-mile radius, especially around the location, but it's within the buffered extent, it actually expands into a large square with sides of 20 miles each. All right, so that is the basics of the desktop or computer version. I'm going to bring over my slideshow again, and we'll go over what mobile looks like as well. If you've got NAU Country Mobile, again, it looks pretty much the same between agents and farmers. And first things first, if your farmer signs in, they're going to be able to see their policies. Same with you. You'll choose your policy holder and what year. We can click on account preferences for them and actually sign them up for an insured email or insured hail notification email. You can do this. Your farmer can do this also from the app under their account preferences as well. Then when they're actually looking at EASYview Weather on their phone, it really is similar, and it's a really great comparison from what it looks like on a computer. All the field cards appear basically the exact same. When you click on one of the field cards, it will open up the map with the data contours on it as well. They can zoom out, and we still even have the opportunity to print that as well. So I think that might be about it for our full presentation. I'll let you guys out a little bit early today. Again, if you have any questions, make sure that you send us or talk to your marketing representative. You can also send itmarketing@naUcountry.com questions as well, and we'll research back with your marketing representative if we need to follow up. Make sure that you sign up for future calls for our webinar series for NAU Country Connection as we go throughout the rest of the spring and summer. But that's all I've got for now. Thanks so much for joining, everybody, and have a very great Wednesday.